And I'm Emma.
And together we are
E Squared. Welcome back to another episode of Campus Chronicles.
The show brought to you by students for students.
That was our late April Fool's joke for everyone.
Everybody. I mean, we're recording this on April 2nd.
But just pretend like it's still relevant. It's still April.
Well, yeah, but
we just thought it would be funny to do a late April Fool's joke where we reverse the order of the intro.
You guys thought it was funny, right? Nod your head.
This is them saying yes.
Funny.
Yes, we thought it was funny.
Oh, thanks. Anyways, today we thought it'd be fun to do, sort of a financial planning episode because I feel like that's something we've kind of covered, but not like in depth. So we're going to go back to the quiz format, right? So, A, B, C, D, fill in the blank type stuff. And we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, and this is actually an episode we always kind of talk about making, but we never actually have taken the time to sit around and plan it. But today we were like, we just might as well get it over with because we talk about doing it all the time. So Today we finally, even though you guys don't know this, but finally we have the financial literacy episode for everyone.
Yeah, you're welcome, America.
You're welcome, America.
So yeah. Anyways, you want to get us started off? First question. What is the most cost-effective way to get your books? Is it A, paying out of pocket, B, buying used books, or C, stealing your books?
I think it's C.
It is not. It's not.
It's B.
Anyways, buying your books can significantly decrease the amount of money you spend for your classes. While bookstores can certainly provide you with cheap materials from time to time, buying used can make a cost-effective alternative that saves more money in the long run. Alternatively, like some colleges have book sourcing materials that connect students with each other in hopes that they find, the books that they have. I know San Juan does this thing where it's like a little pin board they put outside of the bookstore, and you put your name and your contact info and the name of the book you have, and then if someone happens to be walking by and sees that and they need that book, you just contact them, and it's like really cool.
Oh, I actually didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, I know, right? I've seen it like a couple of times. I could be wrong about that, but I'm like pretty sure.
I don't know. I've never heard of that, but that does sound like a pretty cool thing. And I agree that buying used books is way more cheap than buying new books, because when you really think about it, you're only going to use the book for one semester, so why should you pay full price for it? And sometimes it's even more helpful to get a used book because someone might have highlighted things that are helpful or annotated it or left you a little hint on like, hey, this is really helpful for this class. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and if it's like a quality thing you're worried about, just keep in mind we're all college students. I mean, we're fairly good about keeping our sticky hands off of expensive materials. I mean, you might have like a few crumpled pages or some scribblings in there, but it won't be too bad.
Yeah,
most of the time.
Like I said, sometimes maybe the scribblings in the book are helpful. Maybe they're like, hey, for this unit, use this, you know what I mean?
Yeah, or maybe it's like a funny little drawing of a stick man in the corner, and you like flip the page and does a little animation. You never know. And
the best part about it is that you don't have to pay full price for something you're only going to use for one semester.
Yeah, and let's keep this between us, but small, unethical pro-life tip from your host, Ellie, here is I like to wait at least 2 weeks into the semester to see if I'm ever actually going to need the book I buy. And typically, most of the time, it works. So, keep that in mind. Some of the classes that require you to get books never actually use the books.
Oh.
So, just,
And I know we've said this before, but waiting a little bit into the semester to buy your books anyway is a good tip in general, just because maybe you decide you don't want to take this class, and then if you drop it, you haven't spent the money on the book you're not going to use. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so our next question is, if you have to use a program in your class, but you don't think you can afford it, you should A, see if the college has any resources in place to help you afford them. B, use a free alternative website that has the same basic mechanics. C, freak out and say nothing because you're too scared of saying anything. Or D, both A and B.
I want to say D, both A and B.
Yes, you're right.
Wow.
You should. I know for a fact the college has a lot of resources available for students, especially when it comes to the websites and stuff that you have to use for some classes on campus.
Yeah. I mean, I know in classes prior I've had some, run-ins with file format errors, and, my professor will just give me, a website, and it's like, hey, convert this MP3 into an MP4 or something. You can't do that, but you know what I mean. For all you techies out there, you get what I mean. But yeah, essentially just like look for good alternatives. I think I wrote down on that one, like especially if you're doing sort of my type of degree, good alternatives to like Photoshop and Audition and Premiere would be like software like GIMP and Audacity and what's the other one I wrote down there?
DaVinci.
DaVinci Resolve.
Yeah.
So yeah, just there are always alternatives out there if you need one, and yeah, it's just worth looking into if you don't want to spend like a ton of money on subscriptions.
Yeah, and maybe like in the classroom, on a laptop in the classroom, the program will be there, and maybe you can do it at home on a different free one and then just convert it into that one later. So you don't actually have to spend the money yourself to do your schoolwork, because sometimes you just can't afford it, you know what I mean? So finding other free alternatives like GIMP and Audacity will help you to do assignments and still not have to spend a lot of money.
Yeah, and then if you can't get any like, different programs or anything like that, alternative resources, and you like need to be at the college to do stuff, and most of the time like no one's gonna bother you if you spend a few extra hours at the college after hours, I guess. I mean, I remember last year I had a 3D modeling class, and I stayed like maybe 4 hours extra one night because I was late on an assignment. So
Yeah.
sorry, Mr. Wade, if you're hearing this. But,
There's a lot of like computers at the campus too that probably have some sort of programs like that downloaded that you can go and use. Just one thing to look out for is that maybe if you're here a little later than normal, the security will be like, hey, just so you know, we're locking up soon. And they're really going to be nice about it, but it's okay to stay later if you need to get your work done.
Yeah, I mean, I've never really had problems with that in the past, so.
Yeah.
Anyways, for our next question we have, name the best way to save money while planning meals. A, cheap fast food. B, buying a bulk food options from buffets/restaurants. C, cook your own meals. Or D, break into the dining hall after hours.
That's a hard one.
Yeah.
I've never broken into the dining hall. No, I'm just going to get C.
Yeah, so cooking your own meals can be intimidating if you're not already an amazing chef, but it can help to save money in the long run and if you're in a pinch. So yeah, just make sure to utilize resources like college food drives, local food pantries, and online budget meal recipes to ensure that you're not only eating healthy, but also eating cost effectively.
And one thing I really like about the college that we have mentioned before is that there is a food cabinet, there's the Food for Thought program, there's a bunch of resources on campus that if you need some food, you can definitely go. And I think like every month they give out some food. There's the food cabinet, which has really cheap options if you're struggling. There's like meal vouchers you can buy to get cheaper food at Mary's and stuff like that. So there's definitely a lot of resources that you can look into at San Juan for if you're maybe a little short on your budget and you need to eat for that month.
Yeah, it's great. Something to definitely consider for next year. This year they were giving out whole turkeys for Thanksgiving, so
They always do that. They did it the year before last year too.
yeah. So make sure you're always on the lookout for stuff like that, because I think they give away hams at Christmas too.
Yeah, I
could be
think
wrong
they're
about that.
doing an Easter one. I'm pretty sure they did it
really?
yesterday,
Yeah, I thought
where
I
they
saw
gave
something
out
yesterday.
hams or something like that.
So yeah, just make sure you visit the Sun's Lounge, because that's usually where they visit. Or
Yeah.
just walk around campus or look at
And
the flyers.
like I think we've mentioned this before, that sometimes there's just random like days before finals where they hand out breakfast burritos or things like that. Just keep a lookout on your email if you ever are interested in anything like that. And I'm pretty sure the food cabinet is located in the Sun's Lounge, which is right above Mary's kitchen.
Yeah, I got free biscuits and gravy one day, so always worth looking into.
Yeah, and it's just, even if it's like beyond that, even if you, like Ellie said, if you're not an amazing cook already, all cooks start somewhere, and sometimes trying to cook your own meals can actually lead to you eating way more healthy than if you eat out every night. And it's
Yeah.
way cheaper.
Like I said, online budget meal recipes. For anyone who's confused about that or what that might be, just like we're in an age of digital media. There are tons of accounts on like TikTok and Instagram that show you how to cook, just cheap little fast,
Yeah.
reliable meals, and it might.
I'm
just
sure you
work
can
in-
go to YouTube and search up cheap college student meals, and then it'll
Yeah.
give you a tutorial on how to cook those. Or Pinterest or anything, just look it up on Google.
Yeah, it's great. So yeah.
Okay, our next question is, true or false? Applying for scholarships is a waste of time.
False.
Man, that was a hard one.
I know, right?
Actually, applying for scholarships is a super good idea, especially if you're looking to save money while going through college. They can help you save a lot of money throughout the school year. Sometimes they're rewarded for small submissions, like an essay, the random chance, like the foundation scholarship, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, foundation lottery, something like that.
Yeah, that one's pretty easy to get, though. Sometimes, like, I'm pretty sure a lot of the ones, if you live in New Mexico, you have a way higher chance of getting them.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're based on pre-existing circumstances, like maybe your dad's a veteran.
Yeah, like health issues, what's it called? Not social status, sorry.
Like
God.
Financial status, I think, yeah.
God, sorry.
And there's also FAFSA, too, that you should look into if you're looking to get your college a little cheaper, because I know I rely on FAFSA a lot, and it really is the best.
Yeah.
And even if it seems like a big task to go and scroll through all these scholarships, because sometimes there is a lot of scholarships to go through, but it is always worth it to check out just to get a few extra $1,000 here and there. You know what I mean?
Like, even if it is a long list, you can kind of just skim through them, because most of the time it's just like, veteran, something, like, and if none of those apply to you, then obviously you're not going to be able to get them, so just scroll past until you can find something that looks pretty good.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyways, for our next question, fill in the blank. Blank can help you plan out your expenses over the course of your college career.
I think it's budgeting.
It is budgeting. Budgeting can help you plan out the expenses over the course of your college career. Whether it's just to plan out your weekly expenses or everything for your academic year, budgeting can help to create a roadmap for your spending habits.
Which is really helpful because sometimes you think to yourself, hey, in 2 weeks I have a friend coming into town and we're going to go to dinner. But maybe you have a payment for your classes coming up and you shouldn't spend a lot of money right now so you have enough money to take your friend out to dinner and pay for your classes. You know what I mean? So it's just good to write out everything once in a while to see, maybe this week I shouldn't spend as much on food. Maybe I should cook my own meals this week so I have more money to pay for my car insurance next week or something like that.
Maybe just take a month and write down your purchases, like every major purchase you made, or things for food and gas. And then after that, you can, look back at that month and you sort of analyze your spending habits and then just, see how to plan out the rest of your year roughly according to that.
Yeah, and obviously sometimes things pop up that you can't anticipate, but having a budget set aside for each month will make those things a lot more easier to deal with, especially if you have a little bit in a savings account somewhere.
Yeah, like budgeting for emergencies, like if your car tire pops or if you have like a random health scare or something like that. So, yeah,
or if your cat gets hit by a car.
Yeah. Always good to set aside.
It's okay. Disclaimer, my cat is okay, but I'm just saying,
in recovery.
Snickerdoodle is doing okay, but it was a little rough, but thankfully I had enough money to set aside that it wasn't that big of a deal. It was just stressful. But that's what I'm saying. Sometimes things that you can't anticipate happening will happen. And it's good to have a budget in place so you know how to deal with those things when they pop up.
Yeah, like my car is doing this cute little thing where if I leave it running for long enough, the engine shuts off. So it's always good to have a little bit of spare cash just in case you run into any situations like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay, the next question that we have says, fill in the blank. One good way to save a bit of money each month is checking if you're still blank to things you meant to cancel and maybe forgot to. A, enrolled, B, following, or C, subscribed.
Is it B, following?
No, it's subscribed.
Oh, beans.
So one good way to save a bit of money each month is checking if you're still subscribed to things that you meant to cancel. Because sometimes, I know I have done this before, where I keep getting random Apple charges on my phone, and I'm like, who is charging me? Where is this coming from? And then I'll go through my subscriptions on my Apple wallet, and I'll be like, oh my gosh, I totally meant to cancel that like 3 months ago. You know what I mean?
I think I got an HBO Max subscription just to watch like one show, and then I don't think I've canceled it yet. So.
Sometimes, like, I'll do a 30-day free trial for something just because I want to try it out, and then I'll forget to cancel it before it charges.
Yeah, like, I had a YouTube premium account very briefly just because I wanted to download a video, and then I realized it doesn't mean download the video, it means save the video to your It's a whole thing. But, yeah, I'd canceled that pretty fast, and it saved me a lot of money in the long run because YouTube still asks me if I want to try out premium, and I'm like, no, I'm okay, YouTube. So.
And sometimes you are sick of a service, or maybe you just want to try a different one and you forget to cancel the subscription because it can be easy to forget something if you pay for it every month. It's just like a part of your budget, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you should always go through your subscriptions at least every once in a while to check, oh, I didn't mean to be subscribed to that still and I should cancel that. So you're not getting random charges to your account every month.
Yeah, like, even if it is a small fee, like, it still sort of leeches away from your overall total, so.
Even if it's like $2.99 a month, you're like, where is this coming from, though? Because sometimes you're just trying to budget for the rest of the week, and you're like, I can't, like, why is $2.99 being taken out of my account? You know what I mean?
Yeah, so. Just make sure you catch those early before they start causing you a lot of harm, like my HBO Max subscription.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyways, for our next question, we have, what is a good method of saving money when using a subscription service? A, only subscribe to the bare minimum of things you need. B, pirate your services. Or C, check for student discounts.
I think it's C.
It is C, and this kind of ties back into the last thing we were talking about, actually, about subscriptions.
Yeah, which is good that we had these questions right by each other.
Yeah, kind of ironic. Student discounts can be an extremely good way to save money from time to time. For example, places like Amazon, Apple, and most streaming services usually offer student discounts. So, as long as you can provide proof of attendance, typically you'll be able to get some sort of like minor to major discount even. So.
And I think it's funny that we have pirating as one of the options because you should not pirate things.
Don't pirate things.
Don't pirate things. There is cheaper options available sometimes for things. Or you can talk to your friends and be like, hey, I want to watch this and I have Hulu. And they'll be like, really? I want to watch that and I have Netflix. So you can do a little trade or something like that.
Yeah, and like even if you are pirating things, it's always kind of scary. Not that I ever would pirate
FCC, Ellie, we can't talk about pirating.
I know, I'm just saying it's just not worth it because you get tons of viruses and ads and pop-ups and it's just a horrible headache.
There's better alternatives out there than to pirate things. Yeah. Definitely. I also think it's really cool that there's a lot of like big brands and stuff that will offer student discounts because sometimes that can be really helpful. Like I said, like sometimes you're budgeting for the end of the week, but maybe there's a new movie that just came out that you really want to watch. You know what I mean? So there's definitely ways to work around it.
I think the best example for a student discount I've ever gotten was my laptop, actually, that I'm reading these questions off of right now. I got it from Apple, like an Apple store in Albuquerque, and it was so expensive, but I was able to get like a huge discount just because I was a student and it was like my first time attending college.
Wow,
so,
really? I didn't know that.
It was pretty cool. I think it took off like $500 or something like that.
That's a lot of money.
Always look out for student discounts because sometimes it really helps when you're trying to buy a laptop or watch the menu on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so
that's personal experience.
Our next question is, when grocery shopping, you should A, only buy name brand products so you don't look cheap. B, compare prices of store brands or name brand items to see which is cheaper. Or C, splurge every time because you #deserve it.
Is it B?
Yes, it is B. Even though sometimes it's okay to splurge because sometimes you do #deserve it. But not all the time. So I actually like to do this myself when I need to buy, say, cereal. I'll buy the Safeway brand instead of the name brand cereal because it's basically the same cereal, just one is a little bit cheaper.
Yeah, like I substitute my Captain Crunch for
whatever
I don't know what the name brand or the
store brand
is, but it's basically the exact same thing. Like same taste, same texture. It's amazing.
Yeah, and maybe sometimes like you grew up, say, eating a super specific cereal that's a name brand. Maybe you just have really nostalgic feelings about that. But it's okay to like compare them and see where you allow yourself to splurge and where you should just pick the cheaper option. Yeah. And sometimes it's silly things like razors. Sometimes the store brand razors will be way cheaper than the name brand ones, even though they're the same exact thing. It's just, yeah. So, it's just good to go through and see where even on a simple grocery shopping trip, that you can save money.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that, like not just applying to food items. So, yeah, Emma brings up a good point there, everybody.
And there's sometimes like say you want to buy markers and there's a choice between Crayola or Sharpies or just a normal store brand markers.
Yeah.
And they're the exact same markers. Maybe one will have more colors, but depending on what your budget is, maybe you just need markers for a poster board and you just want the cheapest option.
I mean, unless you're like an art student who's professionally using markers.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, find what you need personally and buy what you need personally. Yeah.
Anyways, our next question is, what is typically the best way to save money on housing? A, split rent between roommates. B, live at home. C, squat somewhere nice. Or D, both A and B.
I think it's D, and I don't think it's C.
You don't like squatters' rights?
Anyway, this is a good one because whatever your situation is, there's always ways to save a little bit of money with it. I know we have one of our friends who lives in the dorm, and he has a roommate because it makes it a little bit cheaper. You know what I mean?
But yeah, like, living in the dorm is maybe not, like, the most preferred option for housing straight off the bat, but it's better than driving, like, 2 hours to get to school. Like, when I first thought I was going to go to Fort Lewis College for school, I was going to live at home and then commute, but that would have been, like, an hour and a half drive every day, and then
that's a lot, and that's a lot of money spent on gas and everything like that. So even another financial little thing is that living here on campus can save you a lot of gas, because gas is pretty expensive.
Yeah, and then once again, like, living with your parents, maybe not the most glamorous thing for you, but if they're cool and they're willing to have you still, might as well seize that opportunity.
Yeah,
So.
and just whatever works for you, whatever house situation you can find that works for you is the best. You know what I mean? Yeah. And there's definitely ways to make it more cheaper, like finding a roommate, living with your parents, living with, like, maybe just skipping a bit of the perks. Maybe you just have Wi-Fi and you don't have all these streaming services. You know what I mean?
It for a year or two.
Yeah.
The typical college life experience. So, yeah.
Okay, so for our final question, we have true or false. You should utilize the resources offered by your public/school library.
True.
That is true, because the library has both libraries. There's the San Juan College Library and the Farmington Library. There's even an Aztec one. There's a lot of libraries everywhere. And all of them have really good resources. A lot of them have free Wi-Fi. A lot of them have free internet. A lot of them have free computers that you can go and do your work on. They have free printing services, things like that.
Yeah, I mean, like, I know just Farmington Public Library in general offers a ton of services, and they have a ton of events too. So shout out to the Farmington Public Library. Thank you for always being on our show too. Not our show, but Scott's
KSJE.
show. Yeah. So. Yeah, but libraries are a great place to go just if you need free resources or help finding free resources. And yeah, just always a good thing to consider.
Yeah, and even if the library isn't the perfect place for you, it's still a good idea to look into it and other resources that the college might offer to help you save a little bit of money here and there.
Yeah, always something to consider. But sadly, I think that is our last question, and I do think we are out of time for the episode, so... Yeah.
We hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day, and we hope that you have a good weekend. It's Easter this weekend. We hope you have a good Easter.
Yeah. Happy Easter if you do Easter. So,
and yeah, that pretty much wraps it up for today. We hope you save a lot of money.
Yeah. Here's to good spending for you guys.
Yeah.
So
I hope everyone gets their money up and their funny up.
Yep.
Okay. Have a good day.
All right. We'll see you on another episode of
Campus Chronicles.
Okay. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.